So as I was saying, today's lecture will be a supporting lecture. We will have 4 topics, general topics it will be, and these topics will be helpful to proceed for the upcoming lectures. This supporting lecture will have these 4 topics, and I'll give you a brief information about each, so this will be much better to understand. The first thing we'll speak about in this lecture will be the Arabic numbers. We'll mention the Arabic numbers. We'll get you familiar to them. And then we will speak about type of L. L is the first 2 letters that we use it for the nouns. And the third topic will be the vowels. These vowels is also mandatory topic to be understood. Then the Arabic prepositions, which is huruf al-jar. These 4 topics will be helpful for us, starting by the Arabic numbers. We'll have the numbers written in this way. 1 is wahad, wahad. Of course, here H is not ha, it's ha, as we explained before. Wahad, wahad. Then ithnan, ithnan. Ithnan, th here again, I'm just reminding you of the previous lecture when we studied the alphabets, just to have everything, the cohesion and coherent between the topics what we are trying to learn here. Thalatha, thalatha, thalatha. As you can see here, wahad, ithnan, thalatha. Some people, maybe you know about this information, that some people said that these numbers are actually Arabic numbers. Actually, there is one alim for math. He was an Arabic alim, and this alim, he started to write the Arabic letters to be with the corners or with the angles that he uses to write the number itself. So wahad, you can see it's 1 angle, 2 is 2 angles, 3 angles, etc. So arba. Then we have khamsa, then sitta. Before we proceed to the next set of numbers, I would like to just bring your attention to one thing that is really related to these numbers, which is the weekdays. Sunday is ahad, al-ahad, which is exactly the same number of wahad. It's the beginning of the week. Wahad, ahad, Sunday. Monday is al-ithnain, al-ithnain, which is ithnan, ithnan. So ithnan, the second day of the week, but we are giving a noun, a more noun features. That's why we added the al, which is al, the determined. Then al-thulatha, Tuesday, al-thulatha. As you can see here, thalatha, but we just added al, and then we wrote the letter in such way to have it unique, to be expressing the day of the week. Arba, al-arbi'a, al-arbi'a, al-arbi'a. Thursday, al-khamis. So these 5 days has the matching with the Arabic numbers. However, for Friday and Saturday, say, let us name them for you. Then it will be al-jum'ah, as-sabt. Al-jum'ah is Friday, as-sabt is Saturday. So al-jum'ah is Friday and as-sabt is Saturday. Let's go to the next set now. The next set starting from number 7, which is sab'a, sab'a. As you can see here, I'm using double A to express the ayn. Ayn, it's not sab'a, it's sab'a. It's coming from the throat. Just give it a stress from the throat. Thamaniya, thamaniya, thamaniya. Then tis'a. Tis'a, again, it's not tis'a, it's tis'a, tis'a. And then ashara. Ashara, as you can see here, most of the numbers that has the letter ayn, we just give it a stress from the throat. Ashara, ahad ashar, ahad ashar. There is hamza here. Ahad ashar. This one in the left side is the ashar, and the other one, the right one is أحد, from واحد. اثنا عشر, again, عشر is the one, is the tens, and then اثنا, which is the two. But as an English language, we say 10, then 11, 12. It has no matching with any other numbers. Then 13, 14, 16. So here 13, which is ثلاثة عشر, ثلاثة عشر, ثلاثة عشر, أربعة عشر, أربعة عشر. Can you see how much I make the stress on the letter عين? I'm giving it more stress just to pronounce the عين in a correct way. أربعة عشر, خمسة عشر, خمسة عشر, خمسة عشر. Again, عشر here is the one, and خمسة is 5. خمسة, we pronounce خمسة as the same way we pronounce the first numbers when we started, and عشر is for the one. ستة عشر, ستة عشر. As you can see here, if you can notice, ستة, we start in the Arabic language from right to left. So ستة, we pronounce the number 6 first, then 1. ستة عشر, سبعة عشر, again, سبعة عشر, from right to left. Exactly the same way how we write. But this cannot be a rule, because when we reach hundreds, it's different rule. We will explain it. ثمانية عشر, so سبعة عشر, ثمانية عشر. And here تسعة عشر, تسعة عشر, تسعة عشر. And the last number, the first number in the 20s is عشرون, عشرون, عشرون. Here let's bring the tens. So the first one is 30, ثلاثون, ثلاثون. As you can see here, OON expresses the numbers when we are reaching the 10, like 30. You are saying 13 and 30. أربعون, أربعون, خمسون, خمسون, ستون, ستون, سبعون, سبعون, ثمانون, 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 تسعون, and مئة. And here, as I was telling you before, that we cannot take it as a rule, because when we are trying to, for example, go for مئة, we say مئة for the standing alone number. But when it's, for example, 101, if it's 101, then we pronounce that to be مئة وواحد. The first letter the first number we pronounce is the مئة itself, and then واحد. مئة واثنان, مئة وثلاثة, مئة وأربعة, مئة وخمسة, مئة وستة, etc. So we start from the number مئة, and then we proceed with the next letters. That's why we cannot take it as a rule from right to left. But I just explained that way, because the beginning numbers and the tens numbers would be explained in such way, or just to give you a hint how to remember those numbers or how to read them. So here I wrote here for you مئة وواحد, مئة وواحد, etc. Now let's go to the next topic, which is ال. ال, it's in Arabic التعريف, the determined, the article, the in English. It's two types in Arabic language. So التعريف هي عبارة عن نوعين, two types. Those two types would be expressing, or the names are related to their way you're pronouncing them. So لام شمسية ولام قمرية, شمسية أو قمرية. Why I'm writing sun and moon? Here is the reason why we name them Shams, which is in Arabic sun, and Qamar, which is in English moon. So we call them so because when you are trying to say the word the sun, which is ash-shams in Arabic, you won't be able to pronounce that L, the lam in L, you won't be able to pronounce it. However, al-qamar is different than that. So here I'll just give you a hint how to pronounce the letter. If I'm trying to pronounce the word ash-shams, I'm not going to be able to pronounce the lam after that. I'm not gonna say al-shams. I'm not gonna say that. Al-shams. It's wrong. It's rather ash-shams. Lam is not there. We write it. It's not right if we don't write it. It should be written. But when you try to pronounce that, it would be ash-shams. However, for al-qamar, you write it exactly the same way we wrote ash-shams. We write al-qamar, and when we pronounce that, it will be al-qamar, exactly the same. Nothing changed. But did you think about it? Why we use it in such way, or what's gonna help us to differentiate between these two types of L? It's easy. Once we have any of these letters after L, then it will be al-qamariyatun, qamariyatun, or al-qamariyah. You can say qamariyah or qamariyatun if you are trying to use the critical marks. So alif, ba, جيم حاء خاء عين غين فاء قاف كاف ميم هاء واو and ya. So these letters, once you see them after L, then it's qamariyatun. You have to pronounce that letter, or you have to pronounce the lam after alif. So L, if you use one of these letters, then it will be qamariyatun. However, and once we see one of these letters after L, then it will be shamsiyatun. Exactly the same explanation. The letter ta, tha, dal, dhal, ra, zay, sin, shin, sad, dad, tah, dah, noon, and lam. So these letters, once you see them again after L, it won't be able to pronounce the lam. So exactly the same effect when you are trying to say ash-shams, which is letter sheen, as you can see here. Ash-shams, you won't be able to pronounce the lam. And al-qamar, you can see the qaf, the letter qaf in al-qamariyatun, exactly the same. Here I'll give you three examples for each, so it will be much better to understand the scenario. So as-sayyara, ash-shurta, az-zaman, which is the car, the police, the time, those are shamsiyatun. If we're trying to identify those letters, sin, as-sayyara, as you can see here, I can't pronounce the lam. As-sayyara, I can't say al. As-sayyara, ash-shurta, az-zaman. All of these letters, the three of them, are shamsiyya. As I was saying, as-sayyara, if you are trying to write it, as-sayyara, you write it exactly the same way you write any other words when you're trying to add al-ta'rif to it. Al-ta'rif means the determined, or the article da. So we pronounce as-sayyara without saying the letter L here. We say as-sayyara, as-sayyara. We pretend that lam or L is not there. However, for lam al-qamariyya, exactly, I'm going to practice the same what I have done with the lam shamsiyya. First, identify the letters. Kaf, al-kursay, واو. الولايات, which is United States. الولايات. واو, again, الوردة, the flower. And ميم here, as you can see, ميم is المتحدة. So الولايات المتحدة means the United States. الوردة is the flower. And الكرسي, it's the chair. So if you're trying to write الوردة, for example, you write الوردة exactly the same. I'm using A and L to express للتعريف, الوردة. But here, what is different between this one and الشمسية is lam. Here we have to pronounce that. We cannot avoid it. We cannot pretend that it's not there. It's a must. And sometimes we have to give it a stress even. Just if you have any doubt about that, you have to give it a stress. If you see lam and after that one of these letters, alif, ba, jim, ha, ayn, ghayn, fa, qaf, kaf. Now let's go to the topic, vowels. Vowels are really something interesting because sometimes you'll have some letters gone, some letters stays, some letters disappeared, some letters appeared. It's really strange. That's why we are saying irregular letters. It's the perfect naming for that. So حروف العلة in Arabic language. It's important to understand that these letters have different way in pronouncing them. And a second fact, when the word is returned to its roots, then it will be discovered. Then we will discover that some of these letters disappeared or appeared, as well as the original letter would do. So in the original letters, sometimes if it has one of these حروف العلة, then it will be treated the same. And the third fact for the vowels would be al-mad. You know, when there is حرف العلة and then the diacritical mark, for example, then it will be الراوي. So ra here will have the diacritical mark of fatha. So you would say الراوي. There will be mad, like as I wrote here. So these are حروف العلة. These are the irregular letters in Arabic, which are the vowels. Exactly the same of English, if you can see. A, O, U, E, I. These are the same vowels in English language. That means we are only talking about the way how we pronounce these letters. That has the same effects in English language and in Arabic language. That's why it's the same. We cannot find any other explanation for that other than this. So let's go deeper in there. There are three effects on the Arabic vowels. The first one is the diacritical mark on the previous letter should match the vowel. So as you can see here, if the previous letter, if the vowel used is, for example, waw, then the previous letter should be, the critical mark should be dhamma, and so on and so forth. The second thing we need to know is it gives the word the long voice, which is the mad, as I explained earlier, to pronounce that letter or that word right. And vowels are mostly affecting the imperative form verbs. These are types of the vowels: alif and alif, alif with hamza, then alif with mad, and ya maqsura, all of these are alif. Waw and wa mahmuza, which is waw and there is hamza on it, this is waw, and ya is ya, it has no other phase. So let's start with the first one. The critical mark on the previous letter usually matches the vowel. As you can see here in the examples, nur, noon has the critical mark dhamma, sur has the critical mark dhamma over the sin. Expressed in English in double O, expressed in English for the other word sur, with double O. Actually, we can say nur, but we cannot say it in Arabic or in English with one O. We cannot say that. That's the mad that is giving it. We will explain that inshallah in the coming slide. So light and thins. Even when you are trying to use the diacritical mark fatha, dar, or the kasra, reem, again, we are using alif because it expresses the fatha. We are using ya because it expresses the kasra on reem. So I'll write dar here. Dar, I'm using fatha to express the diacritical mark over dal, over the letter dal, and it's mandatory that the next letter would be alif. Exactly in reem, when we are writing the letter ra here, it should be, and we write kasra under it, then we would know that the next letter would be ya from the vowels. So these diacritical marks are following the vowels. The vowels are really strong that they force sometimes the letters, original letters, to follow them by the voice, by the sound, by the critical mark. The other fact that we would talk about today is the long voice, which is the mad. As you can see here, all of these subjects or all of these points are really connected to each other. Like when we're trying to say the word bab, which is door, we are writing double A here. We can't say bab with one A. We cannot say that because ba has the fatha and alif expresses the fatha, so it should be bab. Jar, which is neighbor. Jar, the jim has fatha again, and alif, it's coming as a mandatory letter coming after the fatha, so jar is giving it the long vowel, the long voice. It's mandatory to give it a long voice. A long voice. The third fact here we have to understand is that the vowels mostly has a very obvious effect on the imperative form verbs, which are the commands. So if you are looking at the verb, for example, rama, which is through, this is the root for that verb, rama. But if you are trying to, for example, give it as a command or as put the verb rama in an imperative form, this ya, we cannot say that. It's incorrect to say it's ya. It's not ya. It's ya maqsura, which is related to the alif as we just explained. Alif with mad, alif with hamza, ya maqsura. So this is the ya maqsura that we are talking about here. Still, it would be rama as an alif. However, this alif has been changed when we are trying to say, when we are giving it imperative form. Alif is one of the letters that we are using when we are trying to put any verb in an imperative form. Notice here that the meme has kasra there. This kasra is rather than say irmi, we say irm, and if we put kasra under meme, it will be mi, irmi. Ya is not there because it's a vowel again. Qama is the root. Qum is the command, is the imperative form of qama. As you can see here, the alif is gone. Alif is not there anymore. That expresses why the vowels sometimes removed or appeared, replaced or stressed. There are two options here. And the diacritical marks are playing a very important role to express the vowels. If it's not the letter itself, then the diacritical mark, which is going to be used to express which vowels is going to be following that letter or replace that letter. So Rama, as I was explaining before, Rama, irm. If you put the kasra, then it will be irmi, irmi. But you will not say irmi, you will say irm, irm. It will be just light kasra. Not even if you're trying to notice it in the words of someone is talking and he says irmi, Sometimes you won't realize even this kasra, you won't realize it. This is the diacritical mark role. Now let's go to the Arabic prepositions, which are the حروف الجر. حروف الجر. When they come, those prepositions, when they come on a sentence, the last diacritical mark on the next word would be kasra. So if you're saying in the school, which is في المدرسة, في المدرسة, you would say في المدرسة تي, في المدرسة تي. If there is sukun over the ta, if there is sukun, we would say المدرسة, and that's it. That's why most of the people, they say ha, they end their words with ha, but actually because they just in their minds that there is sukun there, that's why they say madrasa rather than madrasatun or madrasati. So the diacritical mark is what giving it the sound as we know it. And the other fact is, when the last letter is a vowel, then that vowel remains the same and the kasra would be there but unseen, unshown kasra would be there. So حروف الجر is min, ila, an, ala, fi. In the red writings you would say that from, to, of, on, in, at, those to express them in English, their equivalent in English. As you can see here, kaf, waw, ta, ba, those are letters, but we are using those letters to connect them with the verbs or with the nouns to give it the same effect that the حروف الجر are doing to the next word. As we said, we use kaf to give a like, resemblance, and waw and ta to swear. By the way, ta is more strong than waw. So let's have some examples here. These examples will make our statement clearer than just have it as it is. So min, عاد الطالب من المدرسة. عاد الطالب من المدرسة. As you can see here, I'm using min, and in المدرسة I'm using kasra, which is the student came back from school. عاد الطالب من المدرسة. المدرسة. Kasra here is very important to be used when we are trying to use the prepositions in the sentence. ذهبت إلى الجامعة. ذهبت إلى الجامعة. I went to the university. I went to the university. It should be here, I went to the university. عن, نزل عن المركب. نزل عن المركب. He got off the boat. He got off the boat. He got off the boat. So المدرسة, الجامعة, المركبي, المركبي. As you can see here, kasra. Kasra should be there. Kasra everywhere. الورقة على الطاولة. وضعت المفتاح في الشنطة. As you can see here, kasra is used in each word last letter because of these prepositions that we are bringing to the sentence. الجندي كالأسد. As you can see here, I'm connecting the letter kaf because it's not a standing alone word. It's not a standing alone word. We cannot just write it as it is there in the sentence and that's it. We have to connect it to the sentence. So الجندي كالأسد. كالأسد. So if you want to say it in a right way, you would say الجندي كالأسد. The soldier is like a lion. والله لأقولن الحقيقة. Wallahi, if you can see that in the same word where this letter is coming, because the letter would be presented as the second word coming after the preposition. So wallahi, the kasra will be in the same word. Just to give a hint here, لأقولن, the root for that لأقولن, I would say, يعني, I would tell the truth. So the root for this verb is أقول, but the noon here, we are adding that to give it a more stress, that I will do it. I'm gonna do it and I will do it. Tallahi, it does the same effect, but ta here, as I said before, ta here is stronger than wow. Tallahi لأقولن الحقيقة. Tallahi لأقولن الحقيقة. It is more, to give it more in the meaning, more swearing. أعجبت بالفتى, as you can see here, يا مقصورة or ألف مقصورة at the end of the word. There is kasra, but we cannot see it because the يا مقصورة, you cannot say الفتائي, الفتائي, you will change the whole meaning of the word. So rather I would use السيارة. أعجبت بالسيارة. أعجبت بالسيارة. I like the boy, but for this word I'm writing السيارة, which is the car. أعجبت بالسيارة. I'm using kasra again. That's because الفتى, the last letter, is vowel, as I explained earlier. So as you can see here, letters, standing alone letters, and words. These words, actually they are calling them letters. Now let's have a last slide activity. We are going to define which of these al is قمرية and which of them is شمسية. السيارة, الطائرة, الكتاب, الساق, الرأس, الكرة, الماء, الوجه, البحر, الدمية, القراءة, البيت, السفينة, الأرض, اليوم. Okay, the first hint that we need to look at is the letter that comes after the letter lam. Sin, ta, kaf, sin, ra, kaf, mim, waw, ba in al-bahr, الدمية, قاف, ba, sin, alif, and then ya. So what are the meanings first before we start? السيارة, the car. الطائرة, the plane. The book, the leg. The head, the ball. The water, the face. The sea, the doll. The reading, the house. The ship, the land. The day. So these are the meaning. So السيارة, seen, it's شمسية, because you say السيارة. As you can see here, I'm not able to pronounce the lam here. السيارة. الطائرة, الطائرة, I jumped over the lam. الطائرة. But in الكتاب it's قمرية. الساق شمسية. الرأس, الكرة. Try to notice that and sometimes I would be able to pronounce the lam, but sometimes I'm not. الماء, الوجه, البحر, الدمية. Can you see? الدمية. I'm not able to pronounce lam here. I cannot say الدمية. I cannot do this pause. I cannot do it. القراءة, البيت, السفينة, الأرض, اليوم. If you are trying to pronounce al and it's shamsiya, if you are giving it the pause, which is is if you want to say al sayyara, this pause is wrong. We cannot make this pause in pronouncing the word as-sayyara, for example. That's why we have to make sure to differentiate between al, the shamsiya one, and the qamariya one. And after this, you will be able to understand the difference between this one and the other one.